system season as a first-year head coach at a big-time program. And the track record isn't like terrible for those kind of cases, but it's not great. And so that like really dings the team, in addition to the fact that like their personnel is almost entirely turning over and they weren't like super awesome last year. So that will play a role as well.
And that kind of gets to what I was going to ask you about. How do you look at freshmen? And I was saying earlier, we touched on this a little bit. It must be so difficult. You know, how do you look at a Derek Lively and a Dariq Whitehead and the such at Duke, and then go, oh, you know, I can have some notion of how these guys are going to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's not terribly like intelligent. You know, it looks at their recruiting ranking and applies that to the team and kind of applies it into a way that like helps like worse teams more. So like if a top recruit goes to like a lower ranked team, it'll improve their rating more than it will a better ranked team. But it's not super intelligent. Could be more intelligent in that sense. Could use AAU stats, you know, grassroots stats. I think like Filipowski in particular like has like really good like grassroots stats, but I do not include those directly in my model. Like it would help in the margins, but wouldn't help a ton. So in general, just sees, hey, Duke has like the best class in the country, and this is what they've done the last 4 years, and they have a new head coach, and puts kind of all that in the mix. And they don't really have anybody coming back from last year's team, so that all goes into the mix and spits out a rating. And in the case of Duke, it ends up being not very flattering. I should run it like if like with Coach K coming back and see what it would be, but anyway. Oh, it won't be very flattering, but really interesting. Yeah.
We would love to get the with Coach K and with arbitrary new head coach version of the rankings.
Yeah, maybe I'll get that ready for the release, because that could be interesting. Yeah. I think back when like Steve Prohm took over Iowa State like 6 or 7 years ago, and Iowa State was like pegged to be like a top 5 team that year. And I don't think they ended up being top 5 in the preseason, but I kind of look back at like new coaches that took over programs that were top 5 teams. Like just like even Steve Prohm had previous experience, and it wasn't super flattering. Like there were only like, 4 or 5 teams like in the last 20 years or so where you could say that. And like the results were like not terrible, like I said, but they weren't